What's up, everybody? I just finished playing the story of God of War, the latest God of War game on PS4. I had a great time with it, very epic game, so it just seems like a great time to go ahead and do this video here, which of course is focusing on video game characters as Funko Pops. Now, of course, Funko has already done a lot of video game characters as Pops, and what you see here on the screen, this is just a sample of them. So if you notice that some are missing, of course, I'm not trying to put them all on one screen. That would take forever. Yeah, because Funko has done a lot of video game characters as Pops, so I do want to give them credit where credit is due. But of course, there are still some other video game characters I would like to see as Funko Pops. Now, whenever I do these type of videos, I do give myself some criteria to go by, because I know it's okay to dream big, but at the same time, I like to think in terms of what could really happen. So one thing I do consider is licensing. You know, does Funko already have the license, or do I think they can obtain the license? So that's definitely something I think about. I also think about design. That's a big one. You know, will the character actually translate well to a pop figure? So for example, I really like the character Earthworm Jim, but the more I think about Earthworm Jim, I just can't really picture him looking like a proper pop figure. I just don't think he would really fit in. So that's why he's not going to be in this list. Also, I think about the likelihood of good sales, because Funko is a business. They got to make money. They got to make profit. So I don't think they would go with games that are too obscure, or games that just have sort of a niche fan base or whatever it may be. So yeah, I definitely took that into consideration as well. I'm going to focus on characters who were created specifically for games. So for example, I'm not going to talk about, you know, the Injustice games. I know some people want to see Injustice Pops, but I'm not going to focus on them because those are DC characters. You know, they're comic book characters first and foremost. The same thing goes for some other characters. You know, they may have video games, but first and foremost, they come from some other place, you know, so I'm not going to focus on them in this video. And then also, this is very much about my personal interest. So before you ask me why I didn't include a certain character, just remember, I'm not trying to create a list for the community. This is just my list, you know, and you can feel free to share your own personal list down in the comments. So yeah, if I don't include a character, it's probably because I'm just not a big enough fan, or I don't think they'd have a great design, you know, whatever it may be. But don't be offended by that. This is just my personal list, and let me go ahead and get into my personal list here. So I want to kick things off with Street Fighter. Of course, there are already some Street Fighter Pops, and these are some other characters I would like to see Funko make, including Sagat. And of course, Sagat would need to be, you know, a tall character. Now, they don't have to make him a 6-inch Pop. I think sometimes, you know, some people, whenever they think about large characters, they think that they have to be a 6-inch Pop, but Funko has kind of eased off on doing those as regular as they used to do. And plus, I think they proved that they can make taller characters and fit them in a standard size box. If you look at Pops like Juggernaut and Cole Obsidian, those are kind of tall Pop figures. So, you know, as long as Sagat stands taller than the other Street Fighter Pops, I'm good with that. Also, M. Bison, one of my favorite Street Fighter characters. I've always loved his design. So yeah, they definitely got to do Bison at some point. Vega's another one that I think is a must, and they could do a variant of him without the mask, even though we know Pops tend to have pretty plain faces. But you know, they could do a very simple variant of him without the mask, and that could be like a GameStop or ThinkGeek exclusive. Also, Dhalsim and Zangief, I'd like to see both of them. I just think they have really cool designs that would translate well over the Pop figures. And I especially would like to see Dhalsim actually doing a move, his Yoga Fire. I think that flame effect could look cool, because Funko's been doing pretty well with that. He might need a stand, you know, to go along with that. But yeah, I think that looked pretty awesome. And I've seen other companies pull that off with Dhalsim actually having him spit out the fire. Zangief, all he has to be doing is probably flexing or something like that. Nothing too complicated. As far as later generation Street Fighter characters are concerned, Sea Viper is one that stands out to me. I know a lot of people love to cosplay as Sea Viper because she just has a great outfit. She has that really interesting hairstyle, you know, so her outfit, her whole look, it just works. And I think it would look pretty cool as a Pop figure. You know, even her having the shades or the glasses on with the yellow tint, yeah, she could look really cool as a Pop. So Mortal Kombat, of course, they've already done some Pops as well. And of course, there are a lot more characters they could do. So I would definitely like to see Jax, and I would love to see Jax with actual like metallic paint on his arms. That would look pretty awesome, or at least as a variant. With Sonya, I would like to see Sonya in her Special Forces gear. I know some people like Sonya's original outfit, but to me, she just looked like a fitness trainer in that. She doesn't really look like a fighter, you know, so I would like to see her in a special forces gear. As far as Johnny Cage is concerned, they need to ditch that vest that he, you know, was his standard outfit in the latest Mortal Kombat game, because you got to see that ridiculous Johnny tattoo on his chest, which shows, you know, his kind of ego and his star power. And of course he has to have his shades as well. So yeah, Johnny Cage is definitely a must. With Molina, I think they could actually do a chase variant of Molina where she doesn't have the mask on her face, so you could actually see those crazy teeth going on. Yeah, that would be a really cool chase figure. Shao Kahn, you know, I think they definitely got to do Shao Kahn. Now, I really like Kotal Kahn from the latest game, but it just doesn't make sense though to jump to Kotal Kahn and not do Shao Kahn. So yeah, I would really like to see Shao Kahn, and he does have sort of a cheesy look about him, but then again, Mortal Kombat has a certain level of cheesiness to it, so I'm fine with that. Now, I know some people might be wondering why I'm not mentioning Shang Tsung. It's just because Shang Tsung to me has always had a pretty boring look about him, you know, regardless of which costume it is. I just don't think he's an interesting looking character. And then also you see here Kung Lao. Kung Lao definitely looks very cool. Love the hat, and that hat has led to a lot of great fatalities. So yeah, I would love to see Kung Lao. And by the way, one of my patrons did mention the possibility of maybe video game moments, which I could see Funko doing something like that. But he was referring to video game moments as far as fatalities are concerned, and I think that could maybe cause a bit of an uproar, just because there are some consumers, especially parents, that look at Pops as toys because they are pretty much sold in toy sections. So yeah, I think that would cause some confusion. I don't know if Funko would really go there, but they could do some more things like the Battle 2-pack they did, where they had Scorpion and Sub-Zero attacking each other. You know, they could figure out something that's maybe not too violent, and I would definitely be interested in seeing what they could pull off with that. Now, I'm still focusing on fighting games, and it's just because with fighting games, it's mainly just two characters on the screen, so developers get to put a lot of detail into those characters. Yeah, so that's why I'm focusing on fighting game characters so much to start off with here. But next up here is Tekken. I love the character Eddie Gordo. When he debuted in Tekken 3, he drew a lot of attention with his capoeira style. So yeah, I'd like to see Eddie Gordo, and then also that variant of Eddie Gordo, Tiger, which you know, some people treat Tiger like it's its own character, but it's Eddie Gordo. It's the same moveset, you know, so, but he just has on that kind of crazy disco looking gear. And, you know, Tiger could actually be maybe a store exclusive to like GameStop or Think Geek or Best Buy, you know, somewhere like that. Horang, and forgive me, I'm probably going to mispronounce some names because some of these names are a bit tricky, but Horang, I've always loved his kicks, his fighting style in the game, and you know, he has different looks as well, different costumes. His original one is fine, but you know, regardless, I think he's a cool looking character. Definitely has a very cool moveset. I think he'd work as a Pop. Ziao is another character, and again, I might be mispronouncing the name, but I'm doing my best with it. She has sort of that classic, I think Chinese style dress going on there. That looks pretty cool, and I would actually like to see her with the panda in a 2-pack. Funko may want to do them separately, but I tend to think of them together a lot because I think they actually are connected very much within the stories of the game. So, you know, what little story there is. But yeah, I just like the idea too of a panda that's actually in a fighting game. And of course, there are other animals within this series that fight. Like they have a bear, they have a kangaroo. I think there was an alligator at one point or something, you know. But yeah, I just like that though. And yeah, they would be very cool together, in my opinion. Paul is a character with just ridiculous hair. I mean, his hair looks like a tall eraser pretty much, but the character is no joke in the game. Very tough, very intimidating, always looks like he's about to just beat somebody down. So yeah, I would like to see Paul also. And of course, I know there are other great Tekken characters, but these are the ones that stood out to me. Now, sticking with Namco, another one of their series, Soul Calibur. There are so many great character designs with Soul Calibur, so I really had to try to limit this here. Siegfried, I like Siegfried, but you know, Nightmare especially, and of course they share a moveset. They're linked within the story. I feel like Nightmare is actually like a corrupted version of Siegfried or something like that, but it's been a long time since I really followed the story of the series. You know, regardless, I think both of them are valid as Pop figures, would be very interesting designs, and maybe one of them could be an exclusive. Mitsurugi, I like his whole samurai style, which is somewhat unique. It's not like the typical samurai, so that's very cool. Ivy is a fan favorite. She has one of the best weapons in the game. Now, obviously, they'd have to cover her up a little bit more than usual, probably. But, you know, regardless, with her being a fan favorite, I think that should happen. Taki, you know, this female ninja, very cool as well. And I definitely like the mask on her face, but, you know, that's another opportunity there to do a variant, maybe one where she doesn't have the mask. Yoshimitsu has a lot of different looks, so they could just take one of his most popular looks and run with it, or they could do more than one version of Yoshimitsu. And what's cool about Yoshimitsu is that he has been in more than one game. He's also been in Tekken, the Tekken series, so that would be very cool. It's kind of like covering two bases at once. And then Voldo, the character down there in the bottom right, I just like the look of Voldo. He's had some different looks as well, some very varying ones. And yeah, just take one of his cool looks and run with it. He'd be pretty awesome. And by the way, I'm not putting names on the screen just because I think it covers up some of the artwork that I have going on here too much. But I feel like if you know the games, then you're with me, you know the characters. So still focusing on yet another fighting game, and this will be the last one for right now. But yeah, as far as, you know, versus fighting games, yeah, Killer Instinct, definitely got to mention it. I don't know if this would happen or not. You know, I still don't know about licensing for sure. I just know that these are some great character designs. Jago, there should definitely be a Shadow Jago as well. And that could be a chase variant, which would be pretty awesome. Orchid, you know, Orchid, I would prefer her more recent design just because it has a lot more going on, whereas her older design was kind of plain Jane. Hisako was one of the more recent characters with Killer Instinct, and I really like her design as well. She's basically like this, you know, evil spirit from Japan, and they could do a variant of her with that really creepy face that she makes when she wins. That would be very cool. Glacius, I think, could look a lot better than Iceman did, the Iceman pop that they did based off the Marvel character, because the issue they had there, and when I say they, I'm referring to Funko, is that it had to be a bobblehead, so they couldn't make it as clear as they wanted to. But with Glacius, they wouldn't have to worry about that. So I think he could have a really iced out look going on, and, you know, make some of those sharp like icicles on him. He could look very cool. And Fulgore, you know, of course, has been around with Killer Instinct from the beginning, and I do like his design. It's obviously influenced by Predator and some other characters, but yeah, just an all-around cool design. So these are the main characters that jump out at me when I think about Killer Instinct. Now, a character that was featured in Killer Instinct is Rash from the Battletoads, and I know Battletoads still has a strong fan base around. I would actually prefer to see them as a 3-pack though, because this is the reason why I say this. Because Rash stands out so much, and Rash is the one that was included in Killer Instinct, and that's how, you know, some younger people know him. I think the other characters they probably wouldn't sell as well. So I just think go ahead and make that a 3-pack with Zitz, Pimple, and Rash. I would be perfectly fine with that. I think that would be very cool. Now, I want to move from talking about a 3-pack to some 2-packs that could happen. So Contra and Double Dragon, of course, these are classic series, and in each case you have characters that are represented by red and blue outfits, and of course, you know, they don't completely match up with their box art. You know, as a matter of fact, with Contra, I mean, you see the characters there on the Contra box definitely don't match up. They're really knockoffs of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator, and Sylvester Stallone as Rambo. But the actual characters from the game, you know, of course, very simple. They don't have shirts on. They got the red and blue pants going on. And I actually think because the character designs are so simple for Contra and Double Dragon, I think they should be 2-packs as 8-bit pops. And I know some people don't like 8-bit pops, but in this case, since they actually are from the 8-bit era, it just makes sense to me, and I think it would work. Now, other 2-packs here are really, let me say it this way, with Jax and Daxter and then Ratchet and Clank, because they each have a character that is very small, they don't necessarily have to make it a 2-pack, but I think they could fit them into a single box. So, you know, with Jax, Daxter could be like positioned, maybe not on his shoulder. It's kind of tough to put anything on a pop's shoulder, but he could be, you know, positioned somewhere on his upper body, or just make him his own little separate figure in the box, kind of make him to scale. But as far as Clank is concerned, sometimes Ratchet actually wears him like a backpack. So, I mean, they could do that possibly, or again, that he could be his own separate little pop figure, you know, however they want to do that. But yeah, in terms of character designs, I think they definitely would work. You know, both of these duels I think would really work as pop figures. So Metal Gear Solid, I know that things are very sketchy with the way that Konami is using Metal Gear now that Kojima is not there. But despite all that, you know, it still comes down to making money. So I think that Konami would be willing to maybe license out these characters here, and I'm assuming that they still have the rights to them. But yes, with Solid Snake, of course, I think they would need to have a younger one and then the older version of Solid Snake. I'd like to see both. Psycho Man is one of the classic villains from the series, pretty awesome design, and that was just a crazy boss battle, you know, with him breaking the fourth wall and everything. And that wasn't the first video game to do that, but they did it so well, it felt like the first. Also, Sniper Wolf is a villain that I really like, and I really liked her boss battle also. The Cyber Ninja, if you know the series, you know who the Cyber Ninja is. So, I mean, they probably could do a variant of the Cyber Ninja unmasked or something like that. You know, that'd be very cool. And Revolver Ocelot is just all around a cool character. So, whether they do the young Revolver Ocelot or the older one, regardless, just a pretty awesome character. Now, Red Dead Redemption, I really love this game. It's definitely in my top 5. As a matter of fact, I did a video previously about my favorite video games of all time, and Red Dead Redemption was way up there. But I think all they need to make is John Marston, and I would be happy. And it wouldn't be the first time that Funko just focused on one character from a game series. I know they did that with Nathan Drake from Uncharted, and I think they also did it with, I want to say, one of the knights from, I think it was Dark Souls 3. So yeah, there's a precedence for this. So if they just did John Marston, I'd be absolutely happy with that. I think he's a very cool protagonist, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next game in that series. Now, Final Fantasy VII, I'll be honest, I never played it, but it's so popular and I've heard about it so much over the years, I feel like I'm somewhat familiar with it. And I did see the movie Advent Children, which I really liked the action in that. The story was awkward, but I did like the action and the animation though. So from Final Fantasy VII, I know there are a lot of characters that some people would like to see. In Final Fantasy in general, there's a lot of characters some people would like to see. I in particular though definitely think that they should do Cloud. Also, I think her name is Aerith, even though sometimes I see it written as Eris, but I think that's a mispronunciation or a mistranslation of the name, so I think it is Aerith. And like I said, I may not be saying it perfectly, but also Sephiroth. Sephiroth is just one of the most notorious villains ever in video games, so yeah, they would definitely have to do Sephiroth as well. Now, as far as horror games are concerned, you know, here's some ideas that come to my mind. Now, The Walking Dead, of course, this is a property that's known for comic books and TV shows, but they did have some original video game characters, including the characters you see here, Lee and Clementine. And I love their relationship within the game and how that developed and everything. And Clementine, you know, basically growing up in that very harsh world. So, yeah, these characters have always stuck with me ever since I played that game. So I would like to see them as Pops. From Silent Hill, I think Pyramid Head would be insane to see. I've actually seen a custom of Pyramid Head before that looked pretty cool. I wasn't completely on board with the proportions of that figure that I saw, but yeah, I think there could be a very cool Pyramid Head done by Funko, and he definitely has to have that giant, ridiculous, you know, sword or cleaver with him. And then, you know, one of the nurses from Silent Hill would be awesome as well. Those nurses always just so creepy looking. And Dead Space, I love the first Dead Space game. I wasn't so crazy about the follow-up, and then I don't even think I bothered with the third. But Isaac Clarke's outfit, I guess it's almost like armor that he wears, you know, or a spacesuit, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I like the design of that, so I think that would be pretty cool. And it'd be really awesome if the parts of the suit that glow, if Funko actually made them glow in the dark, that would be very cool. So yeah, I really like the design of his outfit. Now, sticking with the focus on horror, of course, Funko has already done Resident Evil Pops, and they actually sold very well, because I was debating for a while on whether or not I should get them, and I noticed like they suddenly were disappearing from stores. So either Funko made a short supply or they just were hugely popular, but I think they were hugely popular. So if they were to make some more Resident Evil Pops, I might try to get some, and I may have to try to go back and find some of the ones that I missed out on. But here are the other characters I would like to see made from the series. Definitely Chris Redfield first and foremost. Also Ada Wong, who is you know, kind of a fan favorite there. Barry with his ridiculously large revolver, that would be cool. Jill, and this is basically Jill when she was kind of corrupted and, you know, turned kind of evil for a while. I'd like to see that variant of Jill, and she's got to have those 2 SMGs with her also. And then Wesker, definitely got to have Wesker. And even though I have this particular image here of Wesker, I do prefer him with the long coat on. He does look more cool, you know, that way. So yeah, I really do hope that they add to Resident Evil. I didn't you know, put any of the monsters or the creatures here because I think Funko actually did really well with that the first time around. So, you know, I think they should bring in more of the human characters, or at least mainly, you know, human characters. And Bloodborne is my absolute favorite game of all time. So, of course, I want to see Pops from Bloodborne. And it is hugely popular, so, you know, Funko hasn't taken notice yet, but maybe with the sequel on the way, you know, we'll see what happens with it. So the hunter that they used for the promotional art and everything, basically just a basic character, I would like to see that as a Pop. Garriman, definitely they could have Garriman in the wheelchair and then Garriman, you know, out of the wheelchair for obvious reasons if you played the game. Bloodstar Beast is one of the villains I think they could pull off, you know, one of the bosses they could pull off, because it's not like a massive villain like most of the villains are in the game. So yeah, I think they could pull off the Bloodstar Beast and make that pretty creepy looking. And then the doll, of course, I would like to see the doll as well. And, you know, maybe they could do Father Gascoigne, I think is his name. But I think he might look too similar to the Hunter and Garriman. That's why I didn't include him here. But, you know, who knows? Just anything from Bloodborne, I would be pretty happy about that. The Last of Us is another game that made my favorites list. And, you know, I love the main characters, Joel and Ellie. I love their relationship within the game. That is one of the best stories I've ever seen in a game, quite honestly. And I'm really looking forward to the follow-up. Really interested to see how the characters, you know, continue their story. And along with the main characters, I definitely also want to see a clicker as well, because it's one of the more unique zombie designs of any video game or even movie or TV show that I've seen. You know, it's very unique, so I definitely would like to see a clicker as a Pop. Now this seems out of place, I know, but I saved this till the end because I was kind of debating on whether or not to include this. But when it comes down to it, I have so much love and nostalgia for Final Fight, and I do feel like the characters are still relevant because they do still appear in fighting games, including the Marvel vs. Capcom series and the Street Fighter games. So yeah, there's still some significance to these characters. So of course I'd love to see the 3 main characters, Guy, Cody, and Hagar. As far as Cody is concerned, I gotta admit his original design is kind of boring, so I do prefer him in the prison outfit with the you know, the cuffs broken, you know, around his wrist and everything. I would prefer that look, or at least a variant with that look. And then, you know, some of the boss characters, some of the villain characters from the game are pretty cool as well. Saddam, I think is how you say his name. I'm not 100% sure, but basically he's the samurai looking guy rocking the jeans. Poison as well, Relento and Hugo, you know, all very cool characters with designs that really stand out. So Final Fight, I'm kind of hoping, I don't know, I feel like there should be a resurgence of side-scrolling beat-em-ups. I know they may not have enough depth for some people, you know, the modern day gamers, but I'd like to see at least, you know, maybe some compilations, you know, some where you can play some of these old beat-em-ups and everything, because I used to love these games. And yeah, Final Fight, I just love the character designs, and the characters have really stuck with me. So this might be a long shot, but I still had to go ahead and put it in this video though. Yeah, so those are my ideas. Those are some video game characters I would like to see as Pops. And I know I rattled off a lot of characters quickly, but yeah, I definitely want to hear your ideas. Who are some video game characters that you would like to see as Pops? Now, I did put some restrictions on myself just because I like to try to keep it, you know, somewhat realistic and things that are possible for the future. But yeah, you feel free, say whatever you want. You know, what are some characters that you would like to see as Pops, you know, that are video game characters or at least featured in video games? And I do want to point this out before I wrap this video up, that I'm continuing the video series Funko Pop Concepts. I think some people, though, must have not listened closely to one of my videos, because I did say that I'm not doing another contest for a while. I'm going to continue the series, but it's not going to be a contest every time. So with the next video, which is going to focus on Marvel, you know, Funko Pop Concepts, it's not a contest. I just want your artwork so that I can share it with the community. So let's be clear about that. It is not a contest for the Marvel video. And thus far, I have received, a couple of submissions via the email address that you see here on the screen, and at least one person did actually mail me a letter that included some artwork. But I really hope to see more of that, because I really want to get this Marvel video together, and then eventually I would like to do one that focuses on video game characters as well. So I'm really putting this call out there to artists. If you are an artist and you really want to share your artwork in these videos, please get your artwork to me as soon as you can. And like I said, let's mainly focus on Marvel characters right now, and then also video game characters, and we'll just keep it moving from there. We're going to try to cover a lot with that series. But do remember, it's not a contest unless I straight up say that, okay, this is a contest and there will be prizes involved. Okay, so please do keep that in mind. Now, I'm starting to wear my voice out, so I need to go ahead and cut this off here. But I do look forward to reading your comments. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all again real soon.